Close your eyes as if you were ending one story and beginning another. Let the old narrative loosen its grip, the roles you've played, the predictable moods, the reflex thoughts that arrive before you even notice them. You're not fighting them, you're letting them become background noise while you tune your attention to a subtler channel. Breathe in through the nose until your collarbones lift slightly, then exhale longer than you inhaled, allowing the body to signal safety to the nervous system. Keep that ratio, smooth and unforced, until the heart begins to settle into a steady rhythm and the mind follows. Now imagine your attention melting from a narrow beam into a wide glow that fills the room, the building, the sky above it. The more you expand, the less the past has edges. Hold in awareness a single intention, not as a sentence you chant but as a feeling that exists before language. If your intention is clarity, sense what clarity would do to your chest, your jaw, your eyes. If it's courage, notice where your spine wants to lengthen and how your breath wants to deepen. Let the body show you the posture of your future before the mind explains it. Keep breathing. When stray memories arise, places where you shrank, moments where you hesitated, acknowledge them, and then let the exhale carry them away as incomplete drafts. Each time you release one, the nervous system learns that you can feel and not cling, notice and not contract. Shift attention to the space around the body rather than the body itself. Sense the volume of the room, the distance to the walls, the open field behind your closed eyes. This open focus allows the brain to relax its predictive loop and quiet the script that tries to keep everything familiar. In that quiet, invite a picture of your next version to arrive. Don't force a scene, allow one to form the way a photograph appears in the developer tray, soft at first, then crisp. What does the day look like when you inhabit that version? Hear the tone of your voice when you speak from it. Feel the weight and warmth of that state in your torso. Let the chemistry of that picture start now, a trickle of electricity across new neural paths, a shift in muscle microtension, the heart stumbling into a steadier beat. Bring your attention to the area around the heart and imagine breathing from there. With each inhale, draw in the qualities your future requires. With each exhale, broadcast them into the space around you. Gratitude works well here because the brain treats it as evidence that a desired event has already occurred. Not forced gratitude, but the quiet, grounded relief you feel when something hoped for is finally real. Stay long enough for the sensation to become self-sustaining. When it does, the mind is no longer searching, it's rehearsing. Now gently rehearse one specific scene that has not yet happened as if it were happening. Walk through the door you usually avoid and continue 2 steps farther than you normally would. Hear someone say the thing that used to trigger you, and feel your breath stay long, your shoulders remain down, your answer come from the chest rather than the throat. The body is a creature of rehearsal, it prefers what it has practiced to what it has merely considered. When you rehearse with feeling, the brain stamps time poorly and begins wiring the memory as if it were lived. Stay with the scene until you sense a click, subtle, like a key turning in a lock. Open your eyes without leaving the state. Stand, move slowly, and let the room be the same while you are slightly different. Choose one micro-action that proves it, send the message, delete the stale note, open the document, pour water instead of coffee, step into daylight for 60 seconds and claim it as your threshold. The action is small on purpose, the state is doing the heavy lifting. Throughout the day, use a quiet cue to return, a finger and thumb touch, a breath count of 5, a word you never speak aloud. Each time you recapture the state in ordinary conditions, you're training the nervous system to hold it without ceremony. When resistance arrives, and it will, treat it as data, not destiny. A tight throat might be the body's way of saying, you're about to speak differently. A heavy stomach might mean, you're at the edge of your old map. Instead of arguing with the signal, widen your focus again. Sense the space around a sensation and let the sensation float inside it. The pressure often releases when it's allowed to exist without being the entire world. If a familiar emotion insists on repeating, breathe through 1 full minute without moving, then ask a simple question: what would my chosen future do with this? Do that, even clumsily. Clumsy is still a vote. In the evening, close the loop. Replay the day like a film and stop at any scene where you drifted back into the old character. Not to judge, only to rescript. See yourself there again, but now acting from the new state. Feel the alternate outcome land. This retroactive rehearsal steals fuel from the past pattern and gives it to the new one. Then find a moment you handled well, even if it was brief. Let pride warm the sternum for 15 breaths. You are teaching the brain which frames to keep. Once a week, practice a short fast from being yourself. For an hour, remove the anchors that drag you into autopilot, the usual music, the habitual route, the conversation that keeps the same grooves. Sit quietly with nothing to fix and let the nervous system learn that safety doesn't require sameness. When the urge to fill the space arises, wait one more breath than you want to. On the other side of that breath is a small door. Walk through. Prime your environment so it becomes a collaborator. Place one object within sight that belongs to your future: a printed phrase, a clean page, a tool. Set your phone to open to a blank note instead of a feed. Make the first light you see in the morning natural if possible. If not, take 10 breaths facing a window. These cues aren't decoration, they are silent agreements. Your surroundings will echo whichever self you sign for. Track signals you can measure without obsession. Heart rhythm variability, minutes spent in deliberate breath, the number of times you found your cue, one bold act per day. Numbers are mirrors, not judges. When they rise, celebrate lightly. When they fall, return to the practice and let the state lead again. It's not linear because you're not a straight line. When doubt visits at night, tell it the truth: you're not trying to force the universe, you're teaching your biology a new reference point until choice is easier than habit. Tomorrow, you will wake and remember faster. You will breathe the body into safety before the mind names a problem. You will widen your focus and feel the room grow around you. You will rehearse one scene and then live a fragment of it. You will touch your cue and carry the state into movement. You will let resistance be evidence that the border is near. You will edit the day with kindness and end with gratitude you can physically feel. One morning, the future you've been practicing will forget to be the future and simply be. The voice will already sound like that, the shoulders will already rest like that, the decisions will already come from the deeper place that doesn't bargain. You'll look back at the stretch of days where nothing seemed to happen and realize that everything was happening: synapses choosing new partners, muscles releasing old armor, breath turning the key in a lock you couldn't see. That is quantum rebirth in ordinary clothes, the past unhooked, the present coherent, the next reality quietly switching on under your skin. When you notice it, don't clutch. Smile, breathe, and keep walking as if this has always been yours. Let the identity you practice today dissolve a little more, like salt in warm water. Give the body one clear instruction: soften. Soften the tongue from the roof of the mouth, soften the muscles behind the eyes, soften the belly so breath can fall lower. When those tiny doors open, chemistry follows, and the mind becomes less of a guard and more of a witness. Now test a simple truth: the state you rehearse is the signal you broadcast. Picture your future not as a movie on a screen but as a frequency your nervous system can learn to hum. Hum it quietly until your posture, your face, your timing begin to change without an argument. Notice the micro moments where the old script tries to reassemble itself. It rarely announces with a shout, it returns as a sigh, a tightened shoulder, a reflex scroll, a defensive sentence you've said 100 times. Interrupt it kindly. One conscious breath with a longer exhale, one nameable feeling, one chosen behavior, these three beat the old loop because they're faster than thought. You're not suppressing, you're updating. The body understands updates that come with sensation and movement more than lectures and promises, so give it both. Move into the day as if you were carrying a small flame cupped in your hands. You don't hide it, but you protect it from wind. When a challenge arrives, and a challenge is just an invitation with muscles, let the new state answer first. It may answer with silence, with a slower cadence, with a boundary stated once and left to stand. This is not performance, it's coherence. The heart settles, breathing stabilizes, and the brain closes most of the tabs it opened for emergencies that never came. From that quiet, creative options appear that the old self couldn't see because it was busy bracing. Seed the hours with proof. Take one action that would have been unlikely yesterday. Make it specific and visible, a message sent with clarity rather than apology, a walk taken when you would have negotiated with the chair, a choice to read before you reach for distraction. When you stack 3 proofs in a single day, the nervous system recalibrates its forecast. Tomorrow becomes slightly less about survival, slightly more about expression. That tiny tilt compounds. Return to the heart often. Imagine breathing as if the air were entering and leaving through the center of your chest. With each inhale, gather the texture of your chosen state, with each exhale, radiate it a few feet beyond your skin. Don't chase a sensation, allow one to bloom. If gratitude arrives, let it. If stillness arrives, let it. If nothing arrives, let nothing be the teacher. The point is not fireworks, the point is fidelity. Can you hold the signal when there is nothing dramatic to reward you for it? Train the edges of your day where identity is most malleable. In the early morning, before the mind collects itself, lie still for 10 breaths and remember who you are becoming. Not by reciting a list, but by feeling one sentence that sums it up and placing that sentence in your body like a weightless stone. At night, just before sleep, review not problems but proofs. Highlight one moment where you stayed coherent and one where you upgraded the script, even if the upgrade was just a pause. This is how the brain learns to favor the new path when you're not watching. Tend the way you speak to yourself. The old self narrates in absolutes, always, never, that's just me. The new self narrates in experiments, today I'm trying, today I noticed, today I chose. Experiments are light enough to carry and strong enough to change you. Treat feedback the same way. If someone mirrors your change, absorb it as fuel. If someone doubts it, let that be further proof that your source of evidence is internal now. When fear swells, shrink the problem to the size of the next honest action. Let the action be physically grounded, stand up, drink water, step outside, put your feet on real ground, open a window and breathe 5 slow cycles looking at one far object. The nervous system loves horizon. It tells your ancient circuitry that space exists beyond the immediate trigger. With the body calmer, ask the single question that returns you to authorship. What would the version of me I'm practicing do in the next 90 seconds? Do that. Do only that. Keep your environment in on the secret. Place cues where your eyes fall first, a word on a sticky note that names your state, an uncluttered surface that invites work without friction, a glass already filled near your desk so hydration is default, not decision. Schedule micro-ceremonies. Light the same candle when you focus, set the same 3 sounds as your begin playlist, walk the same 6 quiet steps before you press go. Ritual is not superstition, it's scaffolding for identity. Let generosity become part of your frequency. Once a day, do something useful for someone with no scoreboard in mind. Write a note that costs you nothing but attention, share knowledge without decorating it with your importance, leave a place better than you found it. Generosity is not moral decoration, it's coherence in motion. It confirms that you have more than enough state to spare. Study your resistance like weather. There will be internal forecasts that say, storm, when there's only a cloud. When you sense a surge, tight jaw, shallow breath, heat in the chest, tag it out loud in a whisper, anger, sadness, fear, urge. Naming pulls the feeling from everywhere to somewhere, and somewhere is manageable. Then widen your focus again until you can sense not only the feeling but the room that holds it. Feelings dislike being the whole sky, they relax when they're one cloud among many. Every few days, choose a deliberate novelty. Take a different route, read a paragraph from a new field, practice 1 minute of stillness after a burst of work instead of switching tabs. Novelty teaches the brain that safety and sameness are not synonyms. When novelty meets repetition, your daily cues, your breath, your night review, you get both plasticity and stability, the exact mixture that rewires identity without drama. If you crave signs that it's working, flip the rule, be the sign. Let the evidence be your tone when you answer a difficult question, the way you leave a room, the projects you finish because the new state likes finishing. People may notice, or they may not. The deeper reward is that your body knows. It knows when your words match your temperature, when your choices match your posture, when your schedule matches your declared values. That inner alignment is quiet, but it changes what you see, and what you see changes what you reach for. When the world pulls you into velocity, become heavier instead of faster. Slow your exhale, drop your shoulders, feel your feet make contact. You cannot outthink a body that believes it is in danger, you can only teach it that the moment is livable. Live one more breath than your habit would allow. Live one more sentence spoken from the chest. Live one more minute in which you do not defend the old version. These incremental acts recode you in ways that no breakthrough can replace. If you forget the practice, which you will, return without ceremony. The state does not hold a grudge. Pick up the breath, widen the focus, remember the picture, take the next honest action. Tomorrow is not the promise, practice is the promise. And practice, done with feeling, creates the conditions where the improbable becomes ordinary and the ordinary becomes holy. Keep moving. The future you chose is not ahead of you anymore, it's growing inside your timing, your language, your reach. Let the future keep rehearsing you even while you do ordinary things. Wash a cup as if calm were your native language. Tie your shoes as if steadiness lived in your hands. The brain loves context, it tags states to actions. If you carry the state into small motions, those motions become anchors you can grip when the waves rise. When an old reflex tries to draft you, pause in place and feel 3 layers at once. The body's sensation, the breath's rhythm, the space around you. That triple awareness interrupts the autopilot without a fight. In that pause, let one sentence land, not a slogan, a decision, I will act from coherence. Follow it with the next honest gesture and nothing more. Treat attention like a muscle group and train both strength and flexibility. Strength is choosing a single object, breath at the heart, the hum in your palms, a sound in the distance, and holding it lightly for 60 seconds without chasing anything else. Flexibility is widening to include multiple sensations and the space that contains them, then narrowing again at will. Do reps throughout the day. When attention grows obedient, thoughts stop dragging you, they begin to report to you. Now you can spend attention rather than lose it. Invite your future to borrow your biology for 5 minutes at a time. Sit upright, crown lifted as if the sky were quietly tugging at it, shoulders dropped, jaw unlatched. Let your eyes rest behind the eyelids as if looking at a horizon. Feel the atmosphere in front of your face grow a little thicker, like warm water. Breathe as though the air could go in and out through the center of your chest. On the inhale, gather the texture of your chosen identity. On the exhale, let it spill into the room. Keep going until the state becomes less like pretending and more like remembering. If an emotion rises that matches the future, gratitude, ease, subtle joy, don't analyze it. Give it a longer leash. Emotions are how the body understands a new timeline. When doubt argues, borrow its energy. Doubt is proof that something unfamiliar is entering the system. Label it as a signal that plasticity is active, then choose a tiny risk that aligns with the new self. Send the message that felt too direct. Ask the clear question. Put your name on the draft and share it with one person. The body learns courage in grams, not kilos. Each gram changes your posture, your breath, your sense of distance to the thing you want. Design friction out of what the future loves and into what the past loves. Place the book on the pillow so you must move it to sleep. Leave the headphones next to the door so walking becomes default. Put your distractions 2 steps farther away than comfort allows. The extra reach is often enough to preserve your intention. These are not hacks, they are architectural votes. Identity is easier to hold in rooms built for it. Practice a calm surge. Pick one interval, 90 seconds, in which you move with purpose while maintaining steady breath and soft eyes. Tackle a task you've postponed. Speak a boundary in a single sentence with warmth. Clean one surface completely. The calm surge teaches your system that intensity and peace can occupy the same moment. This is the signature you are after: high voltage, low noise. When you meet other people, let the state go first. Before the mind composes, let your chest warm 1 degree. Look at them as if you could see the day they just had. Listen until your body catches the rhythm of their speech, then answer from the slowest part of you. Influence is not volume, it is coherence strong enough that other nervous systems entrain to it. You will know it's working when conversations start ending with clarity rather than residue. Keep a ledger of proof, not perfection. At night, write 3 lines, where you return to the state quickly, where you stayed longer than last time, where you took one action the old self would have delayed. Do not add commentary, the brain edits truth when emotions flare. Over a week the lines will stack into a pattern. That pattern is the evidence your biology craves more than any mantra. When a heavy emotion arrives, refuse the 2 common mistakes, dramatizing it or denying it. Do the third thing, contain it. Sit, plant your feet, and breathe with a long exhale while noticing the exact borders of the feeling in the body. Does it have heat? Shape? Motion? Let the breath expand half an inch beyond those borders on every out-breath. Containment tells the primitive brain that the feeling is inside you, not the other way around. Usually it shrinks when it realizes it isn't the entire sky. Give your future a sound. Choose one tone, song, or ambient texture that fits the state and play it softly whenever you practice. Over time, the first notes will flip the switch for you, the way the scent of rain predicts weather. Pair it with light, the same warm lamp, the same corner, the same time of day. Repetition lays electrical rails so tomorrow's train arrives on time. Work with time as material. In the morning, imagine the next 12 hours as a film strip. Touch 3 frames with your intention, 1 difficult conversation, 1 block of focus, 1 piece of rest, and pre-feel how you'll inhabit them. At midday, touch those frames again for 30 seconds and correct your trajectory by a degree or 2. At night, fast forward through the day, stopping to reshoot any frame where you defaulted. That edit matters. The brain stores the corrected version and offers it sooner next time. Let your body learn bravery in a language it trusts: cold water for 30 seconds, a slow squat held for 3 breaths, a deliberate stretch you usually skip, a walk taken when scrolling would be easier. Physical novelty with controlled breath is a universal message: we can feel intensity without panic. Every time you encode that message, mental choices become simpler because the body is no longer negotiating for safety. Speak to yourself as if you were responsible for your own weather. Replace "I am anxious" with "anxiety is moving through." Replace "I can't" with "I haven't yet." Replace "that's who I am" with "that's who I practiced." Language is a steering wheel. Small turns over long distances change continents. Make room for silence the way a craftsman keeps a clean bench. 10 minutes with no input is not empty, it is where your nervous system digests experience into wisdom. Sit, breathe, let the mind complete a few unfinished loops, and then wait 1 more breath. On the other side of that breath, fresh options arrive that noise would have drowned. If you slip, raise your voice, lose hours to distraction, choose the familiar argument, re-enter immediately. Don't pay the guilt tax. The tax funds the old identity. Instead, pay attention forward, one breath, one apology offered cleanly, one next step aligned with the future. Redemption is fastest when it is practical. Keep testing a bolder thesis. You don't manifest by forcing, you tune by becoming. As your state stabilizes, the external begins to rearrange with less effort and more precision. People who fit your frequency stay longer, those who don't fade without drama. Opportunities that match your clarity become visible because your attention can finally see them. None of this is magic in the theatrical sense. It's biology cooperating with intention, physics meeting a steady signal, life recognizing itself in the shape you now hold. Carry this into sleep. Just before drifting off, feel the future as a memory already lived and let gratitude rise until it is physical, warmth in the chest, a softening in the throat, a small smile that arrives by itself. Sleep inside that chemistry. Night is when wiring consolidates. Let your last act each day be a vote for the world you are rehearsing. Wake, breathe, widen, rehearse, act, review, repeat. Quietly, consistently, you will notice that the gap between who you mean to be and how you move has narrowed to the width of a breath. Keep breathing. Keep choosing. Keep letting the new reality use your body as its doorway. Let yourself become a place where signal is stronger than noise. When the day grows busy, don't chase control, produce coherence. A single, slow, diaphragmatic breath taken on purpose is a laboratory. The exhale lengthens, the heart rhythm smooths, the vagus nerve whispers, safe, and the predictive brain loosens its grip on yesterday's script. In that loosened moment, slide in one instruction your future wants, speak clearly, move cleanly, choose once. Don't stack 10 improvements, install one with feeling. Neurons wire by salience, not volume. Give the moment weight, feel it land in muscle, breath, and timing, so the body files it under how we are now. Practice upgrading the first interpretation instead of the 50th reaction. Something happens, the old self writes a headline you've read 1,000 times. Before the ink dries, ask a better question: what else could this mean that serves the future I'm practicing? Not a fantasy, an alternative frame that keeps you capable. Choose the frame and then embody it with a single physical cue: shoulders down, jaw unlatched, breath steady. When the body changes state, the brain edits the headline to match. Keep doing this and you are not escaping reality, you are training perception to include more possibilities than the old survival lens allowed. When fatigue appears, don't negotiate with it in thoughts, give the biology a fast win. Hydrate, face a window for 2 minutes, let your gaze rest on the most distant point you can find, and breathe out longer than you breathe in. Distance recalibrates the midbrain's threat map, long exhales reduce unnecessary alarm, water restores the electrical conversation every cell is trying to have. Then choose the smallest next task that meaningfully moves the day, one message, one paragraph, one surface cleared, and deliver it with a calm surge. Fatigue often hides decisions unmade, movement dissolves it. Collect tiny proofs of courage the way an astronomer collects photons, one by one until a picture appears. Courage is not loud, it is consistent. Say the sentence you usually dilute. Ask for the resource before resentment grows. End the meeting when it's done instead of orbiting one more time around comfort. These acts teach your nervous system that boundaries are not danger, they are oxygen. With oxygen, creativity returns, and with creativity, timelines branch in your favor. Make your inner speech precise. Vague desire produces vague chemistry, the body cannot rehearse fog. Instead of be better, choose arrive 10 minutes early and breathe 5 coherent cycles before I enter. Instead of stop procrastinating, choose, touch the first keystroke by 9:05 and keep my fingers moving for 9 minutes. Precision shrinks the distance between intention and action, and the shrinkage is what confidence really is, the felt knowledge that your word makes contact with the world. Track your state like a scientist but treat yourself like an artist. Note what raises coherence, morning light, a certain playlist, 10 quiet breaths after lunch, and what drains it, late screens, low-grade conflict, sugar without movement. Keep the data simple, check marks, short notes, a 3-word log. Then compose your day to feature the good ingredients more often than the bad. This isn't asceticism, it's design. A well-designed day frees willpower for the moments that truly matter. When the mind tells a catastrophe story, zoom out to the timescale that makes room for sanity. Ask how this will read in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Catastrophe rarely survives the wider lens. If the concern remains large at every scale, choose a principled action that preserves dignity now and resilience later. You are not auditioning for perfection, you are curating momentum. Let gratitude remain a practice of physics, not performance. Feel it in the sternum as warmth, in the throat as ease, in the face as a softening behind the eyes. Gratitude that is located in the body, even for 30 seconds, changes electrical traffic more reliably than gratitude that is argued in the head. Use it to time travel, appreciate a future memory before it arrives, not to trick life but to train your biology to recognize the signal when opportunity knocks softly. Refine your rehearsal until it includes friction. Don't picture only the perfect meeting, picture the interrupting question, the unexpected delay, the room too cold, the voice a little shaky, and then see yourself staying coherent anyway. The nervous system trusts rehearsals that acknowledge turbulence and still land. This is how you build anti-fragility, not by avoiding stress, but by practicing skill inside it. Speak less, mean more. Before answering, feel for the lowest, quietest place in the chest and let the words rise from there. The cadence slows, the syllables carry weight, and you stop leaking energy in qualifiers and apologies. Silence between phrases is not emptiness, it is credibility. Others will feel it and match it without being told. Design endings with as much care as beginnings. Close work with a micro-ritual, clear the last window, write one sentence that tells tomorrow where to start, put the object you'll need in the place your eyes land first in the morning. End conversations with a summary and a single next step agreed aloud. End the day by rehearsing 2 frames you're proud of, 1 frame you revise in imagination, and a brief bath in gratitude you can physically feel. Endings teach the brain what to keep. Treat setbacks as skill training, not identity verdicts. If you revert, notice it quickly, name it plainly, repair what you can, and resume the protocol. The old pattern loses authority every time you return without drama. Think of yourself as a pilot running checklists, not a judge handing out sentences. Checklists beat shame because they move. Let beauty be functional. A clean desk with 1 meaningful object, a screen background that calms rather than clamors, a notebook that invites your hand to return. These are not indulgences, they are agreements with your future attention. Beauty reduces friction. Reduced friction compounds into finished work and easier choices. Sharpen your relationship with truth. Tell yourself the exact state of the system, what is working, what is dragging, what you are afraid to admit. Then ask what small action would make this truer and kinder by nightfall. Do that. Truth shrinks anxiety because there is nothing left to manage in secret. Practice generosity as strategy, not theater. Share 1 useful thing daily without attachment, an introduction, a resource, a sentence that saves someone time. Systems reciprocate over horizons you cannot predict. Meanwhile, generosity keeps your signal clean. Clean signals travel farther. When you feel the threshold, the subtle sense that you are almost the person you rehearsed, don't accelerate, stabilize. Breathe slower, move deliberately, let the body memorize the altitude before you climb again. Ascents held are ascents kept. This is how change stops being an event and becomes your climate. Keep a single sentence that orients you when the weather turns. I create from coherence, not from hurry. Whisper it when the room tilts. Let it reset your timing, your voice, your reach. Hurry is an old flavor of fear, coherence is the new gravity. Stand in it until the world arranges again. And when it does, and it will, quietly, and then all at once, meet it with the posture you practiced. Shoulders easy, breath long, eyes steady, language simple. Receive without flinch what you once had to imagine. Use it well. Use it kindly. Then keep going, because rebirth is not a single door, it is a corridor, and every step you take in coherence builds the next door, already unlocked, waiting for your hand. Let change become a rhythm you can keep with your body. Walk as practice, a steady cadence, arms loose, jaw unlatched, eyes soft on the horizon. While you move, pair each footfall with a silent instruction: arrive, open, choose, create, and let the word vibrate through muscle and breath instead of rattling in thought. Movement dissolves stale chemistry faster than argument. 5 minutes of coherent walking engraves a state more reliably than 50 minutes of worrying about one. When you sit again, notice the residue of steadiness still humming through your limbs. That's the body agreeing to the new broadcast. Train attention like a scientist and mood like a musician. Run small, controlled experiments, 5 breaths per minute for 3 minutes and note the shift. 1 minute of open focus where you feel room, not objects. 90 seconds of eyes closed, gratitude felt in the sternum. Record the aftertaste with 3 words: warm, clear, grounded, and move on. Mood asks for melody, not essays. Choose one track that fits your future and play it softly whenever you rehearse. Over time the opening note becomes a switch, and a switch is easier to find than motivation. Simplify decisions the way a climber trims weight. Pre-decide your first action of the day before you sleep. Lay out the tool you'll touch within 20 seconds of waking. Pre-decide how you'll return from distraction. 2 slow breaths, 1 sentence, 1 keystroke. Pre-decide your stop signal, a timer that ends the session before you're empty, so you leave with appetite. Decision dead is the enemy of identity change. Pay it down with simple rules that your body can keep even when your mind is noisy. Give your future a vocabulary of sensations. Maybe it's a subtle warmth spreading from the center of the chest to the shoulders. Maybe it's an easy heaviness in the legs like standing in shallow water. Maybe it's the micro smile that appears on its own. Catalog these signals. When uncertainty hits, don't ask, what should I think? Ask, what sensation tells me I'm aligned? Then recreate it on purpose through breath, posture, and attention. The brain follows physiology. If you stage the scene with the right cues, the right dialogue arrives. Practice state-keeping in public, where the old self likes to perform. In a conversation, let silence be half a beat longer than habit. Keep the breath low and slow while someone disagrees with you. Land your words on the exhale so your tone carries weight. If a trigger lights up, widen your focus to include the entire room and the soundscape, not just the person in front of you. You are not dissociating, you are reclaiming the camera from the zoom lens. When you answer from that wider frame, you will sound like a calmer version of truth. Put friction where it belongs. Make the old loop expensive by moving it farther away. Apps off the front page, snacks not in the first cupboard, news behind one extra password. Make the new loop cheap, notes ready at open, water bottle filled, walking shoes by the door. Identity is architecture. The path you pave under your feet determines which self arrives at the next choice. Invite micro-audacity. Once per day, do a small thing that scares you in the right direction. Pitch the idea in 1 paragraph, ask for a precise number, publish a rough draft with a date to revise. Courage shrinks when you negotiate with it, it grows when you spend it. Spend a little daily and your system recalibrates fear from alarm to information. Information you can use, alarm uses you. Practice repair as a power move. If you snap, say, "That was my old pattern, here's my correction," and deliver the correction in the next sentence. If you drift into delay, name it and do 1 minute on the task. Repair trains the world to trust you, and more importantly, trains you to trust you. Trust is the floor from which daring becomes affordable. Design a midday reset that fits on a napkin. Hydrate, sunlight or window gaze for 1 minute, 6 slow breaths, 1 written line that tells the afternoon where to go. This takes less than 3 minutes and returns more focus than most long breaks because it speaks in the body's language: light, water, breath, intention. When the afternoon tries to scatter you, your preloaded rails catch the wheels. Rehearse with friction baked in. Picture the meeting with the interruption, the workout when it's raining, the writing session while mildly tired. See yourself maintaining coherence, not because everything cooperates but because you've practiced under load. The nervous system believes what it has rehearsed under realistic conditions. When reality matches practice, the new path becomes default, not effort. Let evening become integration, not analysis. Walk slowly after sunset and count 100 steps without losing the thread of your breath. Name out loud 3 micro-wins from the day, even if they're small enough to hide in a pocket. Then close your eyes and rerun one moment you want to upgrade, feeling the better move in your body. You are editing memory in your favor, the brain stores the latest version. Borrow the mathematics of compounding. 1 degree of course correction today seems trivial. A week of degrees moves you off the old coastline, a month places you in a different current, a season deposits you in a new harbor. Keep the unit of change small enough to do now and steady enough to stack. You will not notice the shoreline moving until one morning you wake and the light comes from a new angle. Set a single sentence that governs your effort: quality before speed, state before strategy, breath before words. Whisper it before important acts. This is not superstition, it's a sorting algorithm. The world will rush you toward tactics. Your sentence returns you to the physics that actually moves outcomes, how you are while you do what you do. When you feel the pull to prove yourself, trade proof for presence. Look at one point far away, let the exhale lengthen, loosen the hands, and answer from the part of you that isn't negotiating for approval. Presence changes rooms faster than performance. People don't remember everything you said, they remember whether their nervous system settled when you spoke. Treat beauty as a functional nutrient. A clear workspace with one intentional object, a screen that opens to blankness instead of noise, a plant within your peripheral vision, these are not luxuries, they are coherence devices. Beautiful environments lower micro-resistance. Lower resistance means more kept promises. More kept promises means identity that holds even when no one is watching. Make the practice portable. Your cue might be the feel of your thumb and forefinger touching, the sensation of cool air at the tip of your nose, the weight of your feet in your shoes. These are anchors you can access in a hallway, on a call, at a red light. Portable tools pry open cramped moments and let the future breathe inside them. Finally, give tomorrow a head start. Before sleep, set the first object you'll touch, write the first sentence you'll read, and feel for 30 seconds the chemistry of a day that goes the way your future prefers. Not fantasy, clarity. Let gratitude fill the chest until it has weight, then let sleep stitch it into wiring. Morning will inherit the thread. Pick it up, breathe into it, and step again. The corridor is long, but the doors keep opening when your state turns the handle. Let the nervous system learn the difference between urgency and importance. Urgency shouts, importance whispers. Each time you feel the tug to sprint, pause long enough to sort the two. Place a hand lightly over the sternum, lengthen the out-breath, and ask a quiet question: what single move today would change the slope of the week? Do that first, even if it is small. The past thrives on drama, the future prefers vectors, steady lines laid one honest inch at a time. Make practice visible so your biology believes you. Keep a simple ledger in the margins of your day, one line for breath kept under pressure, one line for a boundary stated cleanly, one line for a task touched when resistance was loud. Do this without adjectives. Adjectives let your mood edit the truth, lines do not. Over time the stack of lines becomes a mirror that does not lie, and a mirror is stronger than motivation when mornings are heavy. When you work, court depth. Begin by emptying the visual field, close the extra tabs, clear the desk to one useful object, silence the little noises that ask for fragments of you. Sit so your spine is long without strain, relax the back of the tongue, let your eyes settle as if watching a distant shoreline. Then commit to a single unit, 10 minutes of unbroken contact with the task, and let the unit end before your attention frays. Stopping with appetite turns tomorrow into a continuation rather than a rescue mission. Continuations build worlds. Treat setbacks like weather patterns, not verdicts. If you slide into old habits, mark the moment with an audible reset, inhale steadily, and perform the smallest corrective act that returns you to trajectory, one sentence sent, one dish washed, one paragraph revised, one apology offered cleanly with no embroidery. Speed matters here. The shorter the gap between noticing and correcting, the less circuitry the old pattern can recruit. Master the short gap and you become difficult to derail. Bring play into the protocol so change doesn't calcify into a chore. Invent microgames. Can you keep breath low and slow while walking through a crowded place? Can you answer a question with fewer words and more meaning? Can you maintain soft eyes during a tense exchange? Score yourself privately, not to punish but to experience competence in motion. The body learns faster when it enjoys the drill.